Hi, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the 10th episode of the story about the time when Naruto had would release. Let's watch how Naruto takes world by storm. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. On a path back to Konoha were 9 people. Well, not necessarily a path since they stopped for the night in a clearing and were only a day out from Konoha. These 9 were Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Kurotsuchi, Haku, Chojuro, Suigetsu, Karen, and Hugo. Jiraiya left them earlier needing to be somewhere else and technically, the last 3 were prisoners. Except for Suigetsu. He was a cool dude and not committed to Orochimaru like Karen and Hugo were. The 4th member of their team, Kurotsuchi, was actually in a fight with the leader of the group, Naruto, at the moment. "I'll melt your ass, Namikaze," shouted Kurotsuchi loudly as Naruto took off into the woods. Kurotsuchi didn't know if Naruto was a Namikaze, but she clearly knew who Namikaze Minato was. Her grandfather's stories about the man were some of her favorites and Naruto matched his description perfectly. This led her to believe they were at least related just like the rest of Iwa did. Kurotsuchi then sat down in the clearing, fuming, as Sasuke placed a hand on her shoulder. "It's okay. He's handling it now," said Sasuke as Kurotsuchi calmed down. "That jerk is taking his sweet time. It's his turn to get the firewood for camp." Then he made a straws and even then he drew the smallest one and still hadn't gone yet. "It's freezing out here," shouted an exasperated Kurotsuchi as Sasuke nodded his head. The Iwakunoichi then remembered something. "Wait a minute, he's a Makuten user. Can't he just Makuten, Renshuka no Jutsu, wood style, serial pillar houses technique," said Naruto appearing back in the clearing. 7 perfect houses grew from the ground surrounding the group. Once the houses stopped rising, Naruto smiled at his work. Naruto's smile ended immediately as he was hit with tremendous killing intent from the Rock Princess. "You mean to tell me you could have done this from the start?" shouted an irate Kurotsuchi as Sasuke held her back from attacking Naruto. "We've been out here freezing for 10 minutes and you." Kurotsuchi let out a breath as she grabbed Sasuke by the collar and dragged him into one of the houses. "Let's go. I'm frustrated now and need to relieve some stress." As Sasuke got dragged into the house, he threw a thumbs up to Naruto just before the door closed on the house that Kurotsuchi and himself were staying in for the night. As that happened, Sakura and Chojuro took Karen and Hugo into their own houses, which were both more like prisons truthfully. Once the prisoners were in their house, a seal appeared on the outside as the house sunk into the ground to prevent any attempt of escaping. Sakura and Chojuro then walked into their own respective houses as Haku walked into her house alone since Suigetsu said a moment was necessary with Naruto before joining her. "Naruto-san," said Suigetsu as Naruto turned to the Hozuki clan member. "Sasuke gave you a thumbs up as he got dragged into his house by Kurotsuchi. Are you telling me that all that with Kurotsuchi earlier was just to help him get laid?" "Something like that," said Naruto as Suigetsu gave a shark-like grin. "No, I'm not your wingman too. It was already bad enough that Kurotsuchi tried to kill me just now, plus, Haku-chan wouldn't fall for something like that." Suigetsu's grin lessened as he realized Naruto was right. "Right, I know. I don't really need it anyway. I have over a decade of tension built up. I've always wondered how you two met. Haku would never tell me. Just calling you her hero and that she'd thought you were dead. You know, there were no Hozukis in Kiri when she went back. She obviously feared the worst. Lo and behold, Sasuke finds out you're there with Orochimaru, tells me, and I actually tell her," said Naruto before realizing he hadn't asked a real question yet. "What's the story? You know about the Bloodline War, correct?" asked Suigetsu as Naruto nodded. "Great, it'll make this story short. Haku happened to show off her Kekai Genkai one day, not knowing that it was a crime to have one, and her father saw it. Now her father, not being a user of ice release or any Kekai Genkai for that matter, immediately realized his wife was one of them. He goes crazy, kills Haku's mother, and attempts to kill Haku. Luckily, she managed to kill him instead by panicking and releasing her chakra all at once." Naruto's eyes widened hearing that. What a horrible parent to have. But honestly, living was more of a hell for her. She'd lost both of her parents in the span of maybe 10 seconds and it was essentially her fault due to showing off her abilities. She was delirious and depressed and on the verge of suicidal. Until she found you? Yeah, found me. More so stumbled upon myself at the river with my big brother, Mangetsu. We took notice of her and brought her back to our house. She stayed with us for several months and she and I were inseparable. She was my best friend before I even knew what that meant. It was all going great until Orochimaru showed up. Orochimaru kidnapped me after killing Mangetsu when he tried to protect us from the sick freak. The only reason he didn't get Haku was because I pushed her into the river that we'd fled to and she managed to evade capture. Naruto nodded at the words as he smiled. I see why she calls you her hero. That's a nice story, man, said Naruto as he noticed Haku peering out the window at the two of them. You better hurry, I can see she's waiting for you. Suigetsu noticed Haku too and nodded his head at Naruto before holding out a fist for him to bump. Naruto bumped fists with Suigetsu as the Hozuki clan member stood up and went into his house with Haku. Naruto just continued to sit outside as he let the cool air flow through his golden, blonde hair. Naruto eventually got up as he headed to his own house to get some sleep. The next morning, Naruto awoke this morning early as he got ready for the trip ahead. Walking outside his house for the night, Naruto caused it to sink into the ground, destroying evidence of him ever being there. As he did that though, he noticed someone sitting in the tree directly behind his house. Sasuke? Wonder what he's doing? Questioned Naruto as he jumped over to his best friend. Naruto took a seat beside Sasuke on the tree branch as they both stared out into the forest in front of them. You were right, said Sasuke as Naruto nodded. I knew Kurotsuchi would want to do it if I got her all riled up like that. No, not that. Well, that's true but not what I'm talking about. Naruto rose an eyebrow. Itachi, you were right. Naruto's jaw dropped remembering what he'd said about Itachi. Sasuke nodded his head before turning to Naruto with his Sharingan on. Kachan told me. Flashback Sasuke vs Mikoto, it's okay, my baby boy, said Mikoto turning to see Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan. That was how he escaped her genjutsu so easily. Before you seal me, I'm sure you want to know about what happened the night of the massacre. Sasuke's eyes widened. What? I already know what happened. Itachi probably won't tell you because it was an S-rank mission and he has some type of plan. However, I have no such restriction and I feel you need to know. And I want to hear your answer. Mikoto let out a small smile before getting on with it. On the night of the massacre, what do you remember doing? I was out training. I trained a little longer than normal because I wanted to catch up to Itachi as fast as possible. Right, well, Itachi killed everyone in our clan. That's the story, right? Not just a story. It's what happened. It's a lie, then. Sasuke's brow furrowed as Mikoto closed her eyes. Itachi couldn't have killed everyone. No one, no matter how talented, could defeat the entirety of the Uchiha clan. Okay, just means I have another target besides Itachi then. Itachi cried before killing us. Your father and I? Sasuke's eyes went wide. No, when I arrived, you and Dad were dead and he didn't have a tear mark on his face. There was no emotion. I remember what I saw. I see it in my dreams. Tsukiyomi is a powerful genjutsu. Are you sure that's what you really saw? Questioned Mikoto, getting Sasuke to quiet down. We were planning a coup. The Uchihas were going to overthrow Konoha due to the scrutiny against us after the Kyuubi attack. I thought it was a mistake but, I loved your father and would do anything for him. He was adamant it was necessary, continued Mikoto before a tear trailed down her face. It wasn't until Itachi arrived that night that we realized our mistake. How far the rabbit hole went. How many innocent lives would have been forfeit during such a thing. It's why we didn't stop Itachi when he came to end our lives. I'm grateful he left you alive. Itachi loved you more than anything. Mikoto let out a breath before finally asking her question. You've heard my words, Sasuke-chan. I just want to know what you're going to do when you see Itachi. No matter what you choose, I will love you with all my heart. I won't kill Itachi, Kachan. Mikoto's teary eyes opened hearing the immediate answer from Sasuke. There was no hesitation whatsoever. His Chidori-infused hand was removed from her chest as she turned to see him smiling. Itachi has been through enough in his life already. And it's funny, Naruto came up with that idea a long time ago when we first became friends. It had been in the back of my mind every day since. Even if you hadn't told me your perspective, I may have never killed Itachi. He's the only family I have left, you know? Tears grew in Mikoto's eyes as the sclera turned normal in her Sharingan eyes. Mikoto began to glow as she realized what was happening. I'm so happy and it seems your words have freed me from the Edo Tensei contract, said Mikoto as she reached over to hug her son. The trees from Naruto's jutsu began to recede as Mikoto left Sasuke with a few more words. You make sure you keep Konoha and Naruto safe. I'm sure he's likely to follow in his father's footsteps. When he does, he'll need a confidant. Be there for him, and be there for all of Konoha. The village may have a dark side, but the pros far outweigh the cons. I will. I love you, Sasuke-chan. I love you too, Ka-chan. Mikado disappeared fully as Sasuke let out a breath. I won't kill Itachi. I do, however, plan to let Itachi decide what he wants to do. If he wishes to die, to escape the hell he's been living in, then it is my duty as his brother to give that to him. It's what he's probably planned for. Sasuke continued to stare at the spot his mother once was as Naruto landed beside him asking if he was okay. Flashback end. Wow, what a, yeah, said Naruto as Sasuke nodded his head. He could understand the lack of words. He wouldn't know what to say either. Naruto and Sasuke sat in silence for several minutes before they heard a voice behind them. Naruto-kun. Sasuke-san. We're almost all ready to head back, said Hokage, getting Naruto to stand up and turn around. Roger that. Let's get back to Konoha, said Naruto as he jumped back down into the clearing to handle getting the prisoners and destroying the houses. Nighttime Konoha, finally. Our shift is almost over. What a mundane day, shouted one of the gate guards with a yawn and stretch. Yep, 2 more minutes and we're out of here, said his partner as he noticed 9 people walking toward Konoha. Who is that? Questioned the first guard as he noticed the spiky blonde hair on the one leading the pack. It's Naruto. And who are all those people with him? His partner identified Sakura and some of the Kiri contingent. The man's eyes then widened when he noticed the ninja directly to Naruto's left. Uchiha Sasuke, he's returned. No fucking way, whispered the first guard as Naruto reached the gate. Naruto and Sasuke strolled past with a mere wave to the starstruck gate guards. Kurotsuchi went unnoticed by the gate guards as she continued to walk beside Sasuke. Chujuro, Haku, Suigetsu, Karen, and Hugo also walked past the gate without stopping, seeing how Naruto did it. Holy crap. I can't believe the last Uchiha has returned. The gate guards snapped out of their trance when Sakura placed down their mission scroll. They dumbly nodded at the pink-haired Kunoichi as she also left to catch up with the group of 8. Sakura caught up to the group as they headed for the Hokage Tower. Halfway there, Naruto split from the group as he took Karen and Hugo to the torture and interrogation building. Team 10 were walking out of a nearby barbecue restaurant as they noticed the new group of 6 headed toward the Hokage Tower. Wonder what those from Kiri are doing out so late for? And with Sakura no less. And now there's a Kunoichi from Iwa here. What's going on? Asked a keen-eyed Shikamaru, getting his teammates to pay attention as well. At least Sasuke and Sakura are there if something happens. Wait, Sasuke? Shikamaru noticed Sasuke at the lead of the group and was dumbstruck like his 2 teammates who had no clue what was going on. Shika, I thought you said Sasuke left the leaf and was a traitor? Asked Tino as she watched the retreating form of the Uchiha. Shikamaru began to rack his brain around it but couldn't come up with anything. Troublesome. We have to follow them and make sure they don't do anything. Sasuke's group eventually made it to the Hokage Tower as they entered the building and were all escorted to Tsunade's office. A knock came to Tsunade's office as she allowed them entrance. Tsunade smiled as she saw Sasuke walk through the office door. The Uchiha merely gave the bust cage a nod back. I see you're all okay, said Tsunade, especially happy that the Uchiha was safe. It was mainly her who allowed him to do such a dangerous mission, and she would have felt mainly guilty if he didn't make it back. Wait, where's Naruto? He'll be a few, Tsunade Shisho. He took our 2 prisoners to the Tande department, said Sakura as they all finished walking into the room. Tsunade nodded her head as she noticed 2 people in her office whom she didn't expect. And you 2 would be? Questioned Tsunade, looking at the short, black-haired girl with the Iwa forehead protector and the white-haired, shark-grinning male. Tsunade don't know, said Kurotsuchi respectfully as she bowed to the female cage. Standing up, Kurotsuchi introduced herself. I'm Kurotsuchi, Jonin of Iwagakure and granddaughter of the Sandaime Tsuchikage. Tsunade nodded her head as a question entered her mind for her but allowed the white-haired boy to go first. Hello, Tsunade-sama. I'm Hozuki Suigetsu. I've been a prisoner of Orochimaru's since I was 7 and have finally been freed. I'm not necessarily a ninja, but my allegiance goes to those in Kiri. Well, it is a pleasure to meet you both, said Tsunade as she bore her eyes over to the Rock Princess. I have his reason but not yours. How are you here? Kurotsuchi readied an answer but Sasuke answered for her. She's here for me, said Sasuke as Tsunade looked at his eyes and could see the message behind them. He's been traumatized. From his stint with Orochimaru? Thought Tsunade before thinking something different. No, it has to do with something deeper, maybe more meaningful to him. I'll have to see if Naruto knows. That is fine then. Just keep an eye on her, said Tsunade before wondering where Naruto was so she could get a debriefing from her mission leader. A knock came at the door as Tsunade thought Naruto was at it and immediately let the person in. However, it was Tsunade's temporary assistant, Yoma, coming in with a message. "Tsunade-sama, I'm sorry to disturb you but there's a Lieutenant Crunch here to see you. He said it was a priority. Shizune is not allowed to take another vacation unless I'm also on vacation. I can't have someone believing they can interrupt my meetings like this, especially one of this importance. Plus, it's nearly 9 p.m. Why the hell would someone need to see me now?" thought Tsunade as she spoke to Yoma. She could see what the man wanted until Naruto arrived. "Please, send him in." Yoma nodded her head as she went to get him but a voice from the windowsill spoke up instead. "Thank you, Yoma. However, I just realized I got a promotion yesterday," said the man from the windowsill. "It's Captain Crunch now." The room went silent for a second at the announcement. Tsunade's lip quivered upward slightly as the rest of the room reacted to the joke. Suigetsu burst out with laughter as Haku covered her mouth to keep from also laughing loudly. Sasuke just smirked coolly at the clever quip as Sakura and Kurotsuchi placed a hand over their face. Chojuro began to chuckle as the man on the windowsill pointed at Tsunade. "Gotcha, Bachan. 1 point for me," shouted Naruto as he jumped into the room near his team. "Darn it brat, that was a good one. Using my favorite cereal against me," said Tsunade pulling out the little book that held the tallies of her and Naruto's little game. "Seems you've taken the lead." Naruto just continued to cheese at his aunt before speaking. "Shikamaru, Choji, Ino-chan. You guys can come in here and hear this," said Naruto pointing out to Team 10. They were situated on the outside of the building eavesdropping and hadn't known they'd been caught. "Sorry, Hokage-sama. We were tailing Sasuke here and wondered why nobody else seemed to care that he left the village and is now back. We thought he might be trying something," said Shikamaru honestly as he and his teammates stepped into the room. Tsunade nodded her head at his explanation. "It's fine. It's expected. But let's let Naruto shed some light on the situation. Please go ahead and give us the details of your mission." Naruto nodded his head before relaying it. Team Naruto reporting back from their S-rank mission to Kusagaku. Mission status success. My team and I headed out to the base of Orochimaru's where we quickly located our undercover agent, Sasuke, before proceeding to rescue him. There, we met S-rank Shinobi, Orochimaru, but Jiraiya arrived and faced him before killing the snake Sannin. The team then scattered to gather the 3 important ninjas that Sasuke determined in his stint with Orochimaru. Those being, Hozuki Suigetsu, Uzumaki Karen, and Hugo. Suigetsu is a native of Kiri and the last remaining member of the Hozuki clan. Karen is, as known from her surname earlier, an Uzumaki based on the samples gathered and analyzed from her DNA from submissions by Sasuke through testing. The last ninja is Hugo, the originator of the cursed seal and the only one whose DNA can help me remove it from the bodies of the Konoha shinobi with them. Afterward, we successfully brought Sasuke back from his long-term mission. Naruto then took in deep breaths after his lengthy explanation. Tsunade nodded and smiled before seeing Shikamaru put his hands. Wait, you mean to tell me that Sasuke leaving was a planned mission? And if so, why did we risk our lives getting him back if this was all supposed to happen anyway?" questioned Shikamaru with sharp eyes on Tsunade. Tsunade understood where Shikamaru was coming from. He and the 4 sent with him did give it their all that mission. Neji even came back with critical injuries in their failed rescue. However, this was the life of a Hokage and she made that decision with Orochimaru's death in the endgame and luckily it succeeded. "I apologize Shikamaru. It was an S-rank mission and on a need-to-know basis. Even Naruto and Kakashi didn't know at that time," said Tsunade as she added. "Why do you think Sasuke hadn't officially been considered a missing nin?" "I thought that was just because of Naruto asking you not to," said Ino as she started to put the picture together. "So Sasuke-kun never really became a traitor, left the village? He was just doing a long mission that ended with the death of Orochimaru. That's, wow." Choji smiled realizing that Sasuke hadn't left the village and became a traitor as he'd thought those years ago. Shikamaru was still a little heated that they weren't informed of this when they were attempting his rescue. "Right, there's more to it that I'm sure you want to know, Shikamaru. But I have to finish another debriefing first. I will answer your questions tomorrow," said Tsunade getting everyone back on track. "Thank you for that, Naruto. I'll need your written report later. Those from Kiri, your Kage and I have finished our talks and you all will be heading back tomorrow. That is all and you all are free to go as I'm sure you're very tired. Except for you, Sasuke." Everyone nodded their heads as they all walked out of Tsunade's office, except for Naruto who jumped out of Tsunade's window. Sakura took Kurotsuchi to a local diner to eat while she waited for Sasuke. Sasuke looked at the blonde Hokage as he blew out a breath before giving out his mission debriefing. Uchiha Sasuke reporting back from his S-rank mission. Started Sasuke as he went through the long, tedious process of relaying the details of his 3-year-long mission with Orochimaru. It was protocol to make sure the loyalty of the ninja hadn't changed in his stint away. Tsunade didn't like it as much as Sasuke did, but she'd be damned if she had a bad apple in the bushel, especially an apple as important as Sasuke was. With Naruto jumped out of Tsunade's office as he headed to find someone. That someone was situated at Naruto's favorite place in all of Konoha, his father's stone head. Naruto landed behind the blonde in a sunshine as he walked up to her and sat down. "Hi, Yugi-chan." "Hi, Naruto-kun," said Yugito on autopilot. She then realized who she was speaking to a second later. "Naruto-kun. You're back," shouted Yugito more enthusiastically as she lunged at the man beside her, taking him to the ground as she planted several kisses on him in rapid succession. "I was worried about you and I missed you so much." Naruto smiled as he enjoyed Yugito's current assault on his face. "I missed you too," said Naruto between kisses. Eventually, Yugito satiated her desire and allowed Naruto to sit up again. Naruto then looked behind him as he saw 2 green blurs heading his way. "They have to know it's me, right? Dabura Dynamiku entry. Double dynamic entry," shouted the 2 blurs as they attacked Naruto. A wooden dome grew from the ground around Naruto and Yugito as Guy and Rock Lee both attacked the domed wall. Guy and Rock Lee stopped on contact with the chakra-enhanced wood as they felt immediate pain. Naruto let the domed wall sink back into the ground as he could see Rock Lee and Guy both on the ground clutching their leg, the leg used for their attack. "Ah, SSSSSS, ah, SSSSS, ah, SSSSS, ah, SSSSS," repeated Guy and Lee simultaneously as they rocked back and forth still holding their leg. Naruto smiled at the 2's antics before addressing them. "It's me guys, Naruto," said Naruto as Guy and Lee both looked at him before running over and inspecting him. Guy grabbed Naruto's cheeks, apparently testing for makeup or anything before inspecting his hair to make sure it was actually Naruto. Lee grabbed Naruto's leg and checked his limbs out to make sure they matched Naruto's measurements. Guy and Lee both stopped at the same time as they smiled at each other, teeth sparkles shining bright in the nighttime. "Yosh. It seems Naruto-kun is back," said Lee as Guy nodded his head. "Indeed, Lee. It seems we have accomplished our task of protecting Yugito until he returned," said Guy as Naruto nodded his head. "Impressively. And there isn't a hair out of place on her head. We have succeeded in our task. That means we only have 100 laps around Konoha to do. Let's get to it." Rock Lee saluted his sensei as they both took off, leaving a trail of dust in their wake. Naruto smiled at their disappearance as he turned his face to see Yugito smiling at him sweetly. Yugito's sweet smile did nothing to distract Naruto from the Oni mask floating behind her. "Naruto-kun," said Yugito as Naruto gulped at the extremely sweet tone that, despite its sweetness, promised nothing but pain. "If you ever have to leave without me again, never leave me in the care of those 2, okay?" Naruto nodded his head as Yugito patted him on the cheek. "I wanted to take you with me, but you had to stay for the peace talks. You're technically Adono's eyes and ears, as well as voice while here. I understand. Just never those 2, ever." Naruto nodded again before turning to look at the night scene of Konoha. Yugito placed her head on Naruto's shoulder as she interlocked hands with the Kyubi Jinchuriki. "Want to hear about the mission?" "Sure, after I kiss your face some more." The next morning, "Yugi-chan," said Naruto coming from the bathroom in only pajama pants after brushing his teeth. After watching the nights around Konoha, Yugito and Naruto headed back to his apartment to get some sleep. Upon waking, Yugito posed an interesting idea to Naruto. "I'm telling you, double dating is a bad idea." Yugito was standing in Naruto's kitchen wearing a small t-shirt that, if she made any movement, would ride up just enough to show Naruto her backside. A backside that was only panty-clad at the moment. Quite the view for early in the morning. Kami bless her DNA. Thought Naruto as he looked at Yugito's body shamelessly. Yugito snapped Naruto out of his perverse peeping in thoughts as she began to speak. "How is a double date a bad idea, Naruto-kun?" "Everyone says they are amazing," said Yugito making breakfast as Naruto walked into the kitchen with her. "No, only the winners of double dates think that," said Naruto as Yugito became intrigued at what his explanation was. "You see, on double dates, there is this innate competition that occurs. Meaning that no matter the circumstance, we are going to compete with them. If the other couple kisses, we'll have to kiss or we'll seem like the lesser couple. And then it'll just keep going and going and it'll never stop until the date is over. Yugito considered Naruto's words. How else am I going to meet your best friend and his girlfriend at the same time? I did already met Sasuke, but that was at the hospital so it doesn't really count. Plus, we were only friends back then, said Yugito as Naruto couldn't figure out a better way than a double date to meet them both so it wouldn't be awkward. Exactly, it's going to happen. And as far as this competition goes, we're maturer than that, aren't we? Naruto nodded his head as Yugito sat up on the counter having finished making Naruto's plate. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Maybe this is not so bad. Just have to remember it's not a competition. No, there's definitely a competition. I'm just saying we're maturer in the fact that we'll win because we are the best couple, said Yugito with a smirk that Naruto returned. Naruto then noticed something though. Yugi-chan, I thought you were making breakfast. Now that I think about it, I didn't smell anything cooking nor were you preparing something. Yugito sat atop a kitchen plate as she pulled out some whipped cream. Really? I thought I did pretty good on your breakfast this morning, said Yugito as she began to place whipped cream on different parts of her body. Unless you think something else would be better? Naruto shook his head quickly, finally realizing what Yugito meant. Yugito smiled as Naruto proceeded to have it as breakfast. 3 hours later, Uchiha clan compound. Sasuke stood with Kurotsuchi in his old stomping grounds, the Uchiha clan compound. Sasuke was wearing a simple, loose-fitting white shirt with black pants and black shinobi sandals. Kurotsuchi wore a red tank top with white shorts that stopped at her knees and red sandals that matched her top. Both of them forego their forehead protectors as they were off-duty. Sasuke looked around the place as Kurotsuchi decided to comment on its appearance. Wow, this place looks amazing, said Kurotsuchi as she looked around it. I thought you said this place would be condemned and you'd have to clean it and all that. Sasuke nodded his head. I did. I'm guessing Naruto kept with the upkeep of this place in my absence, said Sasuke as he and Kurotsuchi walked around the small grounds that belonged to the Uchiha clan. Nostalgia washed over Sasuke as he and Kurotsuchi walked with him, pointing out places and stating the memories he had of it. Soon the two arrived at the place Sasuke hadn't seen since the massacre, his real home. You sure you want to go in? Questioned Kurotsuchi as Sasuke looked at her before nodding. Well, if you want to. Kurotsuchi grabbed Sasuke's hand as they walked into his old home. After the massacre, the Sun Daime asked whether he wanted to continue living there or move into an apartment like Naruto had, not that he knew Naruto was in one, and Sasuke quickly asked for the apartment. Sasuke made sure to never cross his real home since the massacre. It was saddening to his young heart just thinking about it. But that was then and this is now. Walking in, Sasuke realized everything was just as he'd last seen it since the massacre, except without the bodies of his parents and the blood that adorned the floor. Everything else hadn't been touched or cleaned, unlike the rest of his clan's compound. I thought you wouldn't mind me staying with the upkeep of the compound, but I figured it'd be best if I left this one to you. Sasuke and Kurotsuchi turned to see Naruto standing at his doorway holding Yugito's hand. Naruto was wearing a long-sleeved black shirt with light gray pants and black shinobi sandals. Yugito stood beside him in a blue, low-cut t-shirt, a pair of black leggings with blue sandals that matched her shirt. Neither of them wore their forehead protectors as they were both also off-duty. Yeah, I appreciate that, said Sasuke as Naruto nodded his head. It is a pleasure to meet you again, Yugito-san. This is Kurotsuchi. Kurotsuchi extended a hand toward Yugito, who shook it in kind. Hello Kurotsuchi, I'm Yugito, said Yugito happily as Kurotsuchi nodded and smiled back. It is a pleasure. Though I have to wonder, said Kurotsuchi before pointing at Naruto. How can you date someone like him? He's so annoying and immature. He gets on my nerves so much. I can't stand him. Yugito looked at Naruto before looking at Sasuke. Yugito then looked back at Kurotsuchi. It was a plan. I don't know who came up with it, but it was likely to rile you up so you'd get frustrated and need to relieve stress. A classic in Jiraiya's playbook. Yugi-chan, said Naruto with getting called out like that by his detective girlfriend. You can't just say that. Now Sasuke is about to get his ass kicked for coming up with that plan. Sasuke noticed Naruto threw the blame all on him even though it was his idea. Yugito even said it was from Jiraiya's playbook. That was Naruto's sensei, not his. Before he could let it be known, he felt Kurotsuchi's anger spike. Looking at her, he only saw her smiling sweetly at him, which clearly was opposite of how she was truly feeling at the moment. I can explain, said Sasuke before Kurotsuchi chased him out of his house and all around the clan compound. Naruto and Yugito just stood in Sasuke's home all alone as they watched Kurotsuchi attempt to harm Sasuke. Seems this double date started well, said Naruto as Yugito nodded her head. Indeed, I believe we are already winning, said Yugito, sneaking a kiss before they set off to find the other couple they were hanging with for the day. Nighttime Konoha, Naruto walked out of the restaurant, a frown on his handsome face. The group of four spent the day at the hot springs, watched a movie together, and their last stop was at the pancake house. I can't believe my record got broken today, said Naruto as Yugito put a hand on his back to console the gloomy Jinchuriki. It's okay, Naruto-kun. There was no stopping it. There was no way it'd stand to someone in his circumstance. As Yugito talked with Naruto, Sasuke came walking out of the restaurant behind him with Kurotsuchi mock bowing to him. Sasuke had a crown on as Kurotsuchi began to speak. All hail the new Pancake King. All hail the new Pancake King, said Kurotsuchi repeatedly as Sasuke just smirked. I didn't even realize I ate 116 pancakes, said Sasuke, acting nonchalant as if he wasn't trying to break Naruto's previous record of 104. Thanks for the meal, Naruto. Naruto held his toad wallet, Gama-chan, as he sobbed anime tears. Naruto-kun, you shouldn't have made that bet with him. Sasuke has been with Orochimaru for the last 3 years. He hasn't had food like pancakes since. He was bound to win, said Yugito as Naruto nodded his head. You're right, Yugi-chan, said Naruto as he straightened up immediately and grabbed Yugito's hand. Who's ready for the finale of this double date? Kurotsuchi and Sasuke looked up at that announcement. I thought the Pancake House was the finale. 1. Hot springs, 2. Movie, and 3. Pancakes. I thought this was a trifecta. What could top pancakes? Naruto put his other hand to his chin as he thought for a second. Naruto then looked at Yugito, who looked back, as they had a whispered discussion that couldn't be heard by Sasuke and Kurotsuchi. Naruto and Yugito then nodded at each other before they turned to face them. You're right. Only ramen and sushi can top pancakes, but no, this is just for pure comedy. It's Sanba training season, said Naruto as Sasuke perked up. Hebi, said Sasuke in remembrance. This will be good. Both of the couples vanished in a sunshine as they both landed outside of the Forest of Death. Naruto channeled his chakra as an enormous tree grew from the ground, picking up the four ninjas to give them a view of the entire forest. Naruto pulled out 3 binoculars, one for Yugito, Kurotsuchi, and himself as Sasuke just activated his Sharingan. How are we supposed to know where they are, started Kurotsuchi before Naruto calmly shushed her. Wait for it, said Naruto before an explosion rang out in the far northwest corner of the forest. From the smoke of the explosion came out running an Anbu with a red monkey mask. Right behind Saru was Hebi with her hands full of deadly sharp kunai. Naruto, said Sasuke as he vaguely remembered the chakra of the Saru masked ninja. Is that Kono? Yeah it is, said Naruto as Sasuke looked on more interested. This is going to be good, said Sasuke as even Yugito and Kurotsuchi were enjoying the survival test Saru was going through at the moment. Elsewhere in Konoha, Danzo was in a panic. He may have a great poker face and it never showed on the outside, but internally he worried for his safety. How could I be duped like that? Thought Danzo as he sat in his home, which was outside the walls of Konoha. Sasuke has come back and Orochimaru is dead. It's only a matter of time before Haim comes barging in here with him and his contingent of shinobi to take me away. But why haven't they? Danzo knew that the Uchiha boy had returned yesterday and was sure Naruto would waste no time in finding and exposing him. But 24 hours passed by and nothing had happened. Nothing at all. Danzo ready to flee at a moment's notice, but they never came. What is going on? Thought Danzo, who, for the first time in a long time, didn't have a grip on the situation. Hokage Tower, great, that's exactly what I was expecting, said Tsunade to the silver-haired ninja standing in front of him. This was the real plan? Questioned the ninja as Tsunade nodded her head. I have to say, Tsunade-sama, it's an impressive plan. I agree, said Tsunade with a smile. However, your student was the one to come up with it. And I have to say the brat was perfect in his execution of it. Kakashi's lone eye widened a little at that announcement. Naruto came up with this? But when? Asked Kakashi as he became impressed with his student even more. Well, it was back when Naruto first saw Sasuke during the Sky Ninja raid. Naruto noticed the hidden Junjutsu placed on Sasuke and realized Danzo was probably going to potentially get rid of him. Because of what he knows. Sasuke is a root agent without any inhibitors to keep him from talking. That is true. There could be another reason, but let's not speculate, said Tsunade as she continued. Naruto is strong. Very strong. And likely could take on most of the shinobi in Konoha at once and come out victorious. Everybody knows that, including Danzo. So Naruto has been threatening Danzo and assured him that he'd be the one to bring him down if he got caught doing something unjust. Kakashi continued to put the pieces together. So, you're assuring Danzo's loyalty by pretending to not have caught him in the act of treason, trying to kill a fellow Konoha shinobi, said Kakashi as Tsunade nodded once more. Danzo has hidden motives. Everyone knew that since Sensei became Hokage. He continued to try to usurp power from Sarutobi Sensei to become Hokage. And in this situation, we'd immediately bring him to justice, but Naruto was right, we need him. No matter how despicable that man is, he is probably the most loyal to Konoha of us all. And his root program has done great things for this village, the dirty things that I cannot allow but was necessary. And now with the Sasuke thing, we have him right where we want him. That's incredible. Danzo is actually on our side now, said Kakashi as he smiled. It seems Naruto may just be a great Hokage. Tsunade smiled at the notion as she went back to her paperwork as Kakashi puffed away. Yes, he's going to be amazing. Especially since that's only phase 1 of his plan. Thought Tsunade with a mischievous grin. Location unknown, 2 figures stood by the body of an unconscious male as they sat in a cave. The smaller of the 2 figures was looking out of the cave as he stared into the sunset. Itachi-san, what are you thinking about? Itachi let out a small smile, seemingly seeing something in the sunset. His smile vanished almost as fast as it appeared. Replaced with his normal, emotionless face. Nothing that concerns you. Let's contact Leader Sama. Capture of the Rakubi, done, said Itachi as he then added, in thought. See you soon, Sasuke-kun. I got this one, said a hawk-masked Anbu as his hands sparked with lightning. The Anbu took off as he pierced through the back of a man where his heart was. With a scoff, the Anbu dropped the man to the ground before ending his technique. As that happened, a toad-masked Anbu watching the scene heard a voice in his head. How is that an assassination technique? Questioned Kurama in Gama's head. The noise it makes should make him a dead giveaway. Heard that, said Gama replying to the large fox. He stood in his mindscape shaking his head. I wouldn't get caught by something like that. I'm not a Genin. You fight like a Genin, replied Kurama as he and Gama both pointed at each other comically for the quip. Gama then performed a shunshine and bit his thumb. Why the hell did I just do that with him? When did that even start? Thought Kurama as he couldn't believe that he still did that with Naruto. The two began berating each other in that way a while ago, which was always followed by them pointing at each other simultaneously during any clever ones. It seemed Kurama and Naruto were now friends. We are not friends. He is a Jinchuriki and I am a Baijuo. We are amicable. But we aren't friends. Kushios, summoning. Thought Gama as he placed a hand down next to the body of their target. A blue toad appeared in a puff of smoke as it proceeded to swallow the man and then dispel himself. And that is how it's done, said Takahawk as Gama nodded. Gama and Taka then began to leave the hotel their mission was in and proceeded to head back to Konoha. Leaping through trees, Gama began to make conversation with his partner. You really don't stop, do you? You were on that mission with Orochimaru for 3 years and not even 2 weeks later, you're back doing a mission again, said Gama as Taka shrugged. You really are a robot, aren't you? No, I'm just good at what I do. Plus, I can't get rusty, said Taka before getting something straight with Gama. By the way, just because you're an Anbu captain now does not make you my leader. Gama stopped on a treetop causing Taka to stop and turn to look at him. I think that it kinda does. Not to mention that I've done nearly 300 plus missions. Which means I have experience over you, not just rank. I've done an S-rank mission. A real S-rank mission, unlike you. And all the missions I did en route cancel out that experience thing you have on me. Don't forget that I am the fastest promoted Jonin in the history of Konoha, mission count-wise. PSSSHHH, it's only because Bachan asked me and Jiraiya-sensei if she should. It'd be weird to have a Chunin do an S-rank mission and not get promoted to Jonin, said Gama as he added. Plus, I had to save your fast promoted Jonin ass on that S-rank mission. We could find out who's better now, said Taka as lightning began to spark around his left hand. A Rasengan spawned to life in Gama's right hand as the two Anbu ran toward each other. Several hours later, Konoha, well, good job you two, said Tsunade after getting Gama's debriefing from their mission. You have taken out one of the most notorious gangs in the country, including its leader whose bounty is in your checks. Just doing our job, Hokage-sama. Are we dismissed? One more thing. 64 Shinobi, mostly Genin with a few Chunin and 1 Jonin. Shouldn't have been a problem, and your report claims that you took out all of them without them knowing about it. Plus, you two are some of the strongest ninjas in Konoha. maybe even the world. Gamma and Taka shared a fist bump at that acknowledgement. With that said, please explain to me why you look like you've been in a war. Gamma had singe marks on his clothing with several burn mark wounds that, despite their healed state, looked as if he was hit by lightning from Tsunade's medical viewpoint. Gamma was also missing the upper right side of his Onbu mask. Taka looked no better as he had a light spiral mark on his stomach that eerily looked like a wound mark of a Rasengan that didn't fully catch its target. Not to mention the tree leaves stuck on him and the marks on his arms that looked as if a tree branch constricted him. Gamma looked at Taka, who looked back at Gamma before they both looked at Tsunade. Well, you see, what had happened was started Gamma before being cut off by Taka. We plead silence until tried by a jury. Tsunade shook her head with a smile. You are both dismissed, said Tsunade as the two Onbu disappeared to their homes. Naruto's apartment. Naruto arrived at his apartment in a sunshine as he walked in. Upon walking in, Naruto noticed Yugito sitting on his couch reading. Naruto smiled at Yugito happily as he looked at his girlfriend. Yugito was reading with a mild blush on her face, which ended upon hearing a camera shutter. Yugito's blush deepened upon seeing Naruto standing at the doorway with a camera in his hand that printed out a photo of her reading. It wasn't that she was reading a book, it was what book she was reading that was picture-taking worthy. My sweet Yugi-chan is reading Icha Icha? Questioned Naruto as he grabbed the picture from his camera and began shaking it to cool it down so it could be viewed. I thought you didn't like Jiraiya-sensei's books? It's not what it looks like, stammered Yugito as she closed the book and tossed it out of sight into Naruto's room. Okay, you caught me. I only read it because you left it out and I just so happened to skim the first line. Naruto grinned as Yugito blew a stray hair out of her face. Yaruto and Nugito? I mean, really, he couldn't at least come up with more original names? Great, right? That's the rough draft though. It hasn't been published yet, so those names won't stay. Yugito quirked an eyebrow as Naruto shrugged. His process, I guess. Keeps the names to remember the inspiration. Sensei wanted me to let him know whether it was good or not. I didn't get the chance to read it yet, but seeing how you have, you can let me know. Well, it's definitely good. Creepy how accurate it is. In Chapter 3, he has our first time in it. Down to near perfect detail. You didn't tell him, did you? Of course I didn't tell him. I did tell Gamakichi though, said Naruto before adding. Maybe he questioned Gamakichi? He's the only one, outside you or me, that he could have gotten it from. Wait, said Yugito standing up and looking at Naruto. You told a toad about our first time? Really? That's kind of depressing that you really had no one else to tell. Is it? I could have told someone else. Kurama already knew about it. Well, most of it. He shuts the connection down when I bring up personal stuff usually. Naruto then began to think about other people he could have gossiped with. There's Kiba, but, you really want me to have told Kiba? Lee couldn't keep it a secret, nor would his innocent ears be able to handle it. Then you have Sakura-chan, Neji, Ino-chan, Hinata-chan, and Gaara. No to all of them for varying reasons, Yugito agreed as Naruto kept going. Tsunade Buchan would tease me. Shizune-chan would tell Buchan, so the same result. Jiraiya-sensei wrote a book to share with the world about it. Kakashi-sensei is Jiraiya-sensei's biggest customer, so, no. This leaves Gamakichi, who is a very close friend and my second choice as a best man behind Sasuke. Well, what about Sasuke? Questioned Yugito as she noticed Naruto left him out of it. I told him. I had to let him know that I beat him. And he didn't tell Jiraiya because he was with Orochimaru, said Naruto as he puffed his chest out a bit after claiming he beat Sasuke in having sex. But, I never told Jiraiya-sensei. He just knew apparently. Talking about his senses were tingling and got Gamakichi to spill the beans to him. From what Gamakichi said, it was pretty gruesome torture. Well, tell Jiraiya the book is well written. Though, I don't have cup-sized boobies, said Yugito looking down at her chest. No, you don't. Icha always exaggerates for the perverts, said Naruto before appearing in front of the Nibi Jinchuriki. But don't be so down. Your boobies are by far my favorite. Really? I thought all guys believed in the bigger the better? We do. Well, at least most guys. However, I can touch yours. And that makes them better than anybody else's because they come with the rest of your pretty little self. Yugito smiled at Naruto before licking her lips. I think, we should add another chapter to Jiraiya's book. Right now. Naruto grinned as Yugito moved in and peppered his neck with kisses. Naruto closed his eyes in enjoyment, allowing Yugito to take the lead. Yugito continued to kiss Naruto as she began to undress him. Removing his shirt, Yugito kissed Naruto on the lips again before moving down his chest and stomach with more kisses. Yugito reached Naruto's pants and began to unbuckle them. Pulling the button loose, Yugito smiled and licked her lips before she heard an alarm sound out. Naruto grunted in disappointment before stopping Yugito and bringing her back to a stand. "I'm sorry Yugi-chan. I want to, but maybe later. I have a mission to do," said Naruto as he looked at the clock in his room. "Right about now. Want to come? You'll be of great help." "What are we doing?" asked Yugito after Naruto walked into his room to change into another Anbu uniform. Yugito then smiled giddily as she couldn't wait to do another mission. She'd been doing nothing since moving to Konoha with Naruto. May as well get back into the flow of things, mission-wise. Even if they are for Konoha's benefit. Naruto-kun is likely the next Hokage, and if we're still together, that means I'll be here permanently. Yugito's thoughts ended as Naruto walked back into the room. "As for what we're doing, you'll see," said Naruto as he made Yugito get dressed in the all-black outfit she wore when they went to rescue Gaara. "I just hope that he continues along with this. We'll definitely need his help." Naruto smiled at Yugito as she came out of the room fully dressed and with her face mask up past her nose, only showing her ponytail and eyes. Naruto's smile widened when he noticed a black snake enter his room. Placing on his mask, Naruto tapped Yugito on the shoulder as they vanished in a sunshine. Hokage Tower, sitting at her desk, Tsunade was looking over her last sheet of paperwork. That piece of paper was actually an S-rank mission. Tsunade stared at it as she looked up to see a poof of smoke occur. Appearing from that poof of smoke was Kakashi. "You called?" questioned Kakashi as he read from his Icha book. Kakashi noticed the mission paper in Tsunade's hand and guessed it was for him. "An S-rank? I thought you wanted me to keep an eye on Danzo for another few days?" "Yes and yes. But, this mission is not for you. Naruto is already handling it," said Tsunade as she put the paper down and looked at Kakashi. "I called you here because I'd like an update on Danzo. It seems Danzo is feeling the pressure and getting antsy. I believe he is bound to try something soon," said Kakashi as he added. "All of his root shinobi are back." "Perfect, phase 2 of Naruto's plan is coming together as expected," said Tsunade as Kakashi looked at her questioningly. "Phase 2? I thought his plan was over? He scared Danzo and now he's on our side of things, right? You really think Danzo would give up like that? You just said it looks like he's up to something. So, Naruto's plan didn't end with scaring Danzo," said Tsunade as she smirked at Kakashi. "How long do you think it would take if I were to recall all the Anbu at our disposal? All of them? 2 weeks, at the most." "Correct. And it has been 2 weeks since Sasuke came back, right?" Kakashi nodded his head as Tsunade continued. "Danzo is scared. Scared that something will happen to him based on what Sasuke was and who Naruto is. And if something were to happen, you'd want all of your ninjas there to protect you." "Oh, I see where this is going," said Kakashi as his lone eye widened slightly. "That means Naruto and Sasuke are going to let's go see for ourselves, shall we?" said Tsunade with a smile on her face. Tsunade walked out of her office as Kakashi just stood there still shocked about what he heard. "Naruto plans to end Danzo and Root tonight? And I wonder why he didn't even let me know about this? I could have been of help. Maybe I'm getting old," thought Kakashi before shrugging his shoulders and bringing his book back up to his face. "Oh well. I'm not going to complain. Gives me more time to read this unpublished Icha book. Naruto and Nugito, huh? I'll have to thank Jiraiya-sama for letting me get one of the first copies," Kakashi giggled to himself as he walked out to follow Tsunade. Under Konoha Root Base, a man sat upon a throne-like chair as he looked out over the balcony he was on. Situated in front of him were close to 350 ninjas, all wearing black cloaks and plain white masks. Jumping up next to him were 2 shinobi wearing identical uniforms except with beige cloaks and no mask. The first ninja had orange hair tied into a ponytail while the other had short spiky black hair and black goggles that covered his face down to just below his nose. "Danzo-sama, all of the Root personnel are accounted for." "Thank you, Fu. And you too, Torune," said Danzo before standing and addressing the ninjas gathered before him. "We have a problem. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki needs to be neutralized." "Why Danzo? I thought our goal was to keep Konoha safe? Harming the Kyuubi Jinchuriki would directly go against that by eliminating one of its more powerful protectors," said one of the ninjas with black cloaks as he cut off Danzo. Danzo looked shocked that one of his shinobi voiced out to him and without adding Sama to the end of his name when addressing him. But one of his shinobi wouldn't go against him like that or speak out of place in such a way. "Who are you?" questioned Danzo, eyeing the ninja suspiciously. The ninja stood up and removed his mask to show his face, which had 2 very familiar red eyes. Danzo never noticed that Fu had his hands in the snake seal. Uchiha Sasuke, you are bold for coming here. And you are bold for staying here. You have to know your actions wouldn't be tolerated, said Sasuke as Danzo motioned with his hand for his shinobi to capture him. However, none of them moved. I believe you're familiar with the Mangekyo Sharingan. All of the root shinobi surrounding Sasuke disappeared as they turned into hawks that flew at Danzo. Danzo stood unnerved by the annoying birds before they disappeared into the darkness of the room. The underground compound they were in shifted into an inverted plane as Sasuke now stood a few feet from Danzo. Tsukiyomi, Moon Reader. Seems you've gotten better at using it. However, it is still not as good as Itachi's. You're right. It is not as good as Itachi's. Unlike Itachi, I have a friend with the nine-tailed fox in his body. As much as it dislikes people with my blood, it hates you more and decided to help me just this once. Behind Sasuke, an ominous growl was heard. Two large, red slit eyes opened behind Sasuke before the silhouette of the nine tails formed and stood menacingly. This is just genjutsu. Why isn't Shisui's eye working? Thought Danzo as he couldn't break Sasuke's jutsu. Sasuke's eyes aren't stronger than Shisui's. They can't be. Are you sure you still have Shisui's eye? Questioned Sasuke as Danzo felt blood dripping down his face. The elder shinobi's blood went cold realizing the hidden eye was missing. Or even the Sharingan that Orochimaru implanted into your arm. I was with him for 3 years, I know all about the experiments he conducted on you. Danzo looked down with his lone eye as he was missing his right arm as well. Actual pain. This isn't an illusion. My eye and arm are both gone. Thought Danzo as fear crept into his heart. A feeling he hadn't felt in years. How did all of this happen? How did you remove them without me knowing? Questioned Danzo as he began to back up seeing the Kyuubi move toward him. Danzo stopped backing up as he hit a person. Turning around, Danzo saw Gamma. Taking off the mask, Naruto decided to answer Danzo's question. Mokubun shines, wood clones, shuriken full people, huh? That wasn't Fu or Torune beside you. It was me and a clone, said Naruto as he added. And it seems I was right about your arm. Kurama and I could feel my forefather's cells in you since we first bumped into you at the hospital. And your eye and arm were easy to get. Not difficult at all when a guy is in one of the strongest genjutsu in history and being restricted by chakra-suppressing Makuten. You didn't even notice it wrapping around you before looking into Sasuke's eyes. In a different world, I would have respected you, Danzo. Your leadership, training, and above all, your love for the village makes you a man I'd likely have admired. However, you thought greedily of yourself. Danzo turned to see Sasuke's eyes glowing ominously. Turning children into soldiers that follow your orders above the Hokage. Stealing Sharingan from deceased Uchiha clan members. Desecrating a grave together our first Hokage's DNA. All of that added to your dealings in the past and the fact you attempted to kill me, I have lost all respect for you. Whatever comes to you will be too good. And you know how this genjutsu works, right? Questioned Naruto as Kurama grabbed Danzo and held him painfully tight. You will be tortured for 120 hours by Kurama here. Let's see how long you can last. Danzo saw both Sasuke and Naruto disappear and looked to see Kurama grinning at him. Real world, Naruto and Sasuke stood on the balcony of the underground compound as they looked at the unconscious Danzo. Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan stopped spinning as Naruto removed the hand on his back having funneled Kurama's chakra into him to help with the genjutsu. Well, that appears to be over, said Naruto as his clone held out a jar containing a Sharingan eye. The same eye that was in Danzo's right eye socket. I believe you should have this. Sasuke clutched his right eye for a second as the after effects of using Tsukuyomi hit him. Sasuke stopped clutching his eye as his normal Sharingan spun back to life from his Mangekyo. Thank you, said Sasuke as he grabbed the jar from Naruto before placing it in his ninja pouch. 120 hours? Did you really have to tell him that? Well, I know it only lasted 120 minutes but, how would he know that? Questioned Naruto picking up Danzo and placing him on his shoulder. What about the root ninjas? Questioned Sasuke as he looked out over the balcony. Trapped in a large purple barrier was all of Danzo's shinobi. In the barrier with them was Yugito in her full Baijuu mode. They had a choice. Turn their allegiance over to Konoha and the Hokage or go against Yugi-chan, said Naruto as he smiled. Most of them are pretty smart, the others were dealt with. It really is thanks to one of them though. He helped in finding this place while also getting most of the root Anbu to see things Konoha's way and not Danzo's way. And the great thing for them is they'll actually be integrated into Konoha's Anbu. Still separate but as a legit Anbu Ops division. Danzo may have a twisted way about going through with things but he definitely gave way to great ninjas. They are all Chunin or better, at least. Sasuke nodded his head before he looked up to see two figures coming down. "Did you tell him yet?" asked Tsunade, jumping on the balcony beside the two Anbu. Seeing Naruto shake his head no, Tsunade smiled at Sasuke as Kakashi landed behind her. "Excellent, this means I get to be the one to tell him then." "Tell me what?" questioned Sasuke as the purple barrier surrounding the ninjas vanished and all of Naruto's clones dispelled themselves. Yugito jumped up on the balcony beside Naruto, who smacked her on the butt. "Good game," said Naruto, cutting off Tsunade's announcement. "Good game?" questioned Tsunade before just leaving it alone and turning back to Sasuke. "You've been promoted. You're Konoha's first official root captain." Sasuke's eyes widened as he looked out over the root ninjas now bowing towards him. One of the ninjas stood up and removed his mask. He was a pale shinobi with black eyes and short black hair. "Sasuke-senpai. Or should I say, Sasuke-Teiko?" questioned the pale shinobi as he smiled up at the group of five. "Sai, you did all of this?" questioned Sasuke as Sai nodded and continued to smile. Sasuke's eyes pierced into Sai's memories to get a view of Sai's role in all of this. "I see. Ever since Danzo attempted to let me die by Orochimaru's hands, you've been working with Tsunade and Naruto. Leading us here and allowing others to see what life could be like. Good job. Of course. Though I was only a catalyst. Danzo's recent actions towards you and the Jinchuriki were unfitting of what he taught us. I just used your example and the others followed suit," said Sai, who continued to smile, seeing how he believed he should feel happy at this point. And only a smile could express that physically in his eyes. "Creepy," thought all the shinobi looking at Sai's smile. "What did Danzo do to them?" asked Kurama in Naruto's head as the Jinchuriki just shook his head. "I mean, look at that. It's the worst smile I've ever seen. No wonder most of them wanted to be set free." "Heard that. Let's get out of here," thought Naruto as he turned to Tsunade. "Bachan." Tsunade snapped out of looking at Sai's eerie smile before handing out instructions to those around her. "Right, let's see. Naruto and Yugito-chan, can you please take Danzo to Inoiki?" said Tsunade as Naruto nodded his head and shifted Danzo for a speedy trip. "He knows you'll be arriving shortly and he'll handle things from there. Good job on the mission and everything, by the way." "Just doing the necessary," said Naruto as Yugito wrapped an arm around his waist and they were gone in a sunshine. Tsunade nodded her head before turning to Kakashi. "Kakashi, you can do whatever you want," said Tsunade as Kakashi lowered his book with a raised eyebrow. Tsunade let out a sigh. Within the limits of the law. Kakashi raised his book back up. "Roger that. I should have just left before you could add that last part," said Kakashi as he turned around. "Johnny." Seeing Kakashi disappear in a puff of smoke, Tsunade turned to Sasuke. "And finally, Sasuke. Being that you're the new root captain and highest member of the root Anbu, I need all of these shinobi accounted for." "All of them?" "Yes, all of them. I need to know their skill set and a general view of their experience." "I leave that up to you," said Tsunade before walking up the wall of the underground base to leave. "Make sure to have that on my desk at 8 AM sharp." "Hokage-sama, it's 2 AM now. This will take at least half a day." "Oh, right, how about when you can make it then?" "I need to get my beauty rest," said Tsunade as Sasuke nodded his head and Tsunade left the underground base. Sasuke knew that Tsunade had a meeting at 7 AM with the advisors and would be getting woken up by her assistant, Shizune. Shizune knew nothing of these dealings with Danzo and as such wouldn't know to not wake her. "I'll let her be surprised," thought Sasuke as he found a clipboard with paper on it. Sasuke then looked out over the balcony before letting out a sigh. 288 shinobi. May as well get on with it. Sasuke popped a squat as he figured there was no time like the present. "Alright, who's first?" Several days later, it had been 5 days since the impeaching of Danzo took place. No one in Konoha knew of the secret activity besides those that were there that night in Konoha's council. The council grew outraged at Tsunade's brash decision, but Tsunade reminded the two that she was Hokage and that was the end of the discussion. Danzo's execution was handled with extreme caution and done unknowingly to the Konoha populace. Danzo was never a regular face in Konoha, so his disappearance would go unseen and unheard of by anyone who didn't know him personally. Despite Danzo's actions, Naruto still lobbied for him to be buried by his best friend and rival, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Tsunade agreed and even added his name to the memorial stone. Danzo's greed and selfishness were bad, but his love for Konoha was definitely top 5 of any shinobi in the village's history. No one could deny that. But that was in the past and Naruto was a jonin of Konoha and Anbu captain. He had missions to attend to. And for that reason, Yugito found herself waking up alone this morning. Yugito's eyes opened wearily before she let out a yawn that sounded more like a purr. Naruto-kun is gone again, thought Yugito as she stood and headed to the bathroom to handle her morning duties. Walking out of the bathroom, Yugito let out a sigh. I was hoping to go with him on a mission. I feel so out of practice. Well, that's not true, kitten. Came the serene voice of Yugito's Baijuo. You definitely beat down on those Rudanbu. And they were top-notch. If anything, you're stronger. Yugito nodded her head to Nibi as she laid out some clothes. Yeah, that's right, I guess. It's just I haven't done a real mission in almost a month. I haven't even heard much from Kumo since either. This is getting depressing kind of, thought Yugito in reply, and she stepped in the shower. Nibi waited a few minutes to allow Yugito time to cleanse herself. That is true. But then again, you may have jinxed yourself, said the Nibi as Yugito turned the water off and stepped out of the shower. Grabbing a towel, Yugito began to dry off. I hope so. I'm tired of just being here. I need some action, thought Yugito as she walked out of the bathroom. In walking out of the bathroom, Yugito noticed Naruto standing in the room looking at her with a smile on his face. Not the kind of action I was talking about, but it's definitely better. Hi Yugi-chan, said Naruto with a grin before he walked over to her. Naruto leaned in for a kiss that Yugito was happy to give. Just before their lips met, Yugito noticed a note attached to Naruto's back. Ugh, said Yugito before she decked the Naruto in front of her with a punch. Naruto grew a pained expression on his face before dispelling in a poof of smoke. Stupid clones. Yugito snagged the piece of paper that fell off the clone's back as Nibi decided to add her 2 cents. I don't really think it'd be cheating to do it with a clone of his. In fact, he could make a few clones and you could have a threesome or a foursome. Wait, he could make 1,000 of himself and that'd be Yugito blushed a serious red as she cut the connection with her Baijuo off. That would be so weird. And it is cheating since the clones aren't Naruto. They are clones given their own consciousness. Meaning they aren't my Naruto, thought Yugito before adding. Well, maybe I could ask. And you should ask, said Matatabi as Yugito nodded. Yugito's then shifted her head in surprise. I thought I cut the connection? May, what does this note say? Questioned Yugito in her mind before she read through it. Yugi-chan, glad you're up. I have a mission to do and I was hoping you'd come along with me. Ba-chan thinks it'll be good for you to get out of Konoha for a while. And after we're done, we'll have a 1-week reprieve in Kumo. So get your pretty little buns ready and meet me in the Hokage's office. Toodles. P.S. I think you smell nice. Yugito smiled at the letter before getting excited. Yugito quickly got dressed in her normal Kumo attire sans headband and packed for the upcoming trip. Yugito grabbed her pack before locking Naruto's apartment and performing a shunshine to the Hokage's office. Hokage Tower, Yugito arrived in Tsunade's office as she smiled seeing Naruto sitting in Tsunade's chair with his back to her. No one else was in the room outside of her and the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Yugito knew the trick behind his sensory ability and knew he could not sense her presence. Planning to sneak up and attack him, Yugito stopped as his voice permeated the air. I knew you'd be happy, said Naruto spinning around in the chair to see Yugito let out a huff at being found. How do you do that all the time? I thought you couldn't sense my presence. But you always manage to speak before I can surprise you. Honestly, I was wrong the last 3 times in doing that. But now you're here and so am I, said Naruto before appearing in front of Yugito. Naruto captured Yugito's lips in a sweet but short kiss before ending it and smiling. Good morning by the way. Yugito came down from the impromptu but sexy kiss as she grinned at the blonde before her. Yugito then lunged back at Naruto as she began to make out with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki since that small kiss wasn't enough. Naruto and Yugito began to battle for dominance again as Naruto once again won with illegal use of the hands. Picking Yugito up by her backside after grabbing it, Naruto placed her on Tsunade's desk. Just before things could get hot and heavy, a cough rang out that stopped the two groping and kissing Jinchuriki. Ahem, said Tsunade as Yugito and Naruto blushed. You can do that when this is your office in the future. Until then, I don't need the mess or image in my head. Unless you let me film it and I can make money off it. Yugito and Naruto's blush deepened before Naruto looked to think about actually allowing it. Naruto turned his head to see Yugito shake her head no before they heard another voice. Damn it Haim, said Jiraiya as he made his presence known from the windowsill. It was just getting good. Why'd you have to ruin it? Tsunade looked at Jiraiya ready to say something before closing her eyes and walking over to her chair. Looking up at the two blondes, Yugito still on her desk with Naruto hunched over her, Tsunade spoke. Since you are all here, let's get started. Your mission is not an easy one. said Tsunade as Jiraiya stepped down from the window to lean on the wall behind her. You all will be going to Amigacore. Naruto perked up along with Yugito. Amigacore? I thought that place was closed off? Questioned Naruto as Jiraiya nodded his head. It is. However, that's where my sources say the Akatsuki's home base is. They've already collected 6 of the 9 Baijiu. Meaning that they'll be coming for you both very soon. B-sama won't go down so easily, said Yugito before adding. But then again, who would have guessed they'd get this far? I'm guessing us going to Ame is to try to bring the fight to them? Correct you are. Be warned, this is an S-rank mission and you will likely be facing 2 4S-rank ninjas in the process. If you don't feel up to it, you can back out. Jiraiya was originally going to go at it alone but figured why not take backup since Akatsuki is still at least 7 members deep. Exactly, I'm not saying I couldn't take them but I'd rather be safer than sorry, said Jiraiya as his face took an unnatural seriousness. However, this is a very dangerous mission and like Tsunade said, if you don't want to risk it, do not come. Naruto looked at Yugito who looked back at him. Unspoken words were shared between the two as Naruto nodded his head. Naruto turned his head back to Jiraiya before flashing him a smile reminiscent of Jiraiya's first apprentice, Minato. Well, I can't let my sensei go on a mission like this alone. So, I'm definitely coming so that I can make sure you stay alive to shell out more wisdom to the youth, said Naruto as Jiraiya smiled. And Yugi-chan is coming because she wants to watch my back and make sure that I stay safe and not get over my head trying to take them all on alone. It'll be perfect. Especially considering you're a spy master, Yugi-chan is the best at espionage in Kumo, and I am just plain awesome. We'll be fine. Glad you're confident, brat, said Tsunade as Naruto nodded. Now get Yugito off my desk and head to the west gate. Jiraiya will meet you there in a second. I have something for him. Naruto was ready to fire off a comment trying to get at Tsunade wanting to speak with Jiraiya alone, but from her tone and the seriousness of the mission they were about to undertake, Naruto just nodded. Placing his hand on Yugito's thigh, the two were gone from the room in a sunshine. Tsunade let out a breath before she got ready to speak to Jiraiya. That notion halted as Jiraiya tapped a hand to her shoulder. No need to say it. Hi. I know, said Jiraiya as Tsunade smiled at her teammate. Plus, if you were to say something like that it'll only jinx that one of us may actually not come back. So let's not even go there. So what should I say? Questioned Tsunade as Jiraiya smiled to himself. How about a bet? Chirped Jiraiya with a grin. We all come back alive, I win and you go on a date with me. A proper date. There's no need to worry about if I cannot, we'll all be coming back. Tsunade looked up at Jiraiya, who looked back down at her. Seeing Tsunade nod her head, Jiraiya smiled. Then it's settled. I'll see you when I get back home, said Jiraiya as he jumped to the windowsill. Make sure you wear that black dress. You know the one I like. You better come back. All of you. For that black dress, I'd move a mountain, him. See you soon. Jiraiya was then gone in a sunshine. Please come back. You and Naruto are all I have left besides Shizune. 3 days later, Sasuke sat in a meditative pose in his family's home with his eyes closed. Sasuke had been like that for several minutes before he opened his eyes. His Sharingan was on as he looked to see a Rudanbu bowing before him. Sasuke Teiko, we have found missing nin, Uchiha Itachi. Sasuke nodded his head before he noticed something off about the ninja. In the blink of an eye, Sasuke had a Chidori pierce through the ninja's chest that straightened the bowed ninja up to look Sasuke face to face. Taking off the Anbu's mask with his other hand, Sasuke saw a face he hadn't seen since right after the Chunin exams. The tear troughs on his face combined with his slashed headband and Sharingan, Sasuke's own eyes widened. Itachi. Seems you have gotten better, Sasuke-kun, said the now revealed Itachi. I guess it is time to settle this. That Itachi vanished into crows leaving Sasuke alone. I guess it is time, said Sasuke with his Mangekyo Sharingan on immediately. Sasuke's vision blurred slightly but he nevertheless walked out of his house ready for the events to come. The moment I've waited for since that night and since I failed after becoming a Chunin. This is it. And I'll be sure to come out victorious this time. Vanishing in a sunshine, Sasuke appeared beneath Konoha and Root's underground compound. Standing on one of the barren training grounds, Sasuke looked out to see Itachi stood there alone. So you've come, said Itachi before he turned to look at his little brother. Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan was out and on full display as his eyes pierced into his brother's Mangekyo Sharingan. So you have awoken the same eyes as me. No need for words. Explanations, questions, and statements can be said later, said Sasuke flowing through 7 hand seals as he spoke. All there is now is to fight. Sasuke molded chakra into his chest and in doing so, missed the small smile that adorned Itachi's face. Sasuke thought Itachi as his own chest puffed up in response to Sasuke. Kaden, Gokakyu Uno Jutsu, Fire Style, Grand Fireball Technique, said the Uchiha brothers as they blew out large streams of fire toward one another. Amigakure, does it always rain here? Questioned Yugito as she and Naruto stood on the outskirts of Ame. I mean, I understand that the village is literally named Village Hidden in the Rain, but it's like a non-stop downpour going on. We've seen this village for at least an hour now and the rain has not stopped in the slightest. Yugito was correct. Amigakure was raining constantly, it seemed. The thing Naruto noticed about the village though was the fact it looked more industrial. Look at the buildings, Yugi-chan. It looks high-tech, said Naruto as Yugito nodded her head. And since we're approaching the village, may as well get with our disguises. Disguises? Questioned Yugito as Naruto nodded his head. Well, I guess that makes sense. We have no weapons because Jiraiya-sama said there would be a full check of our person. So what are our disguises? Are you going to be Menma, the writer, again? No, said Naruto with a smile on his face. I'm going to be Mr. Matatabi to your Mrs. Kitsune Kurama. What do you say? As Naruto asked that question, he pulled out a pretty engagement ring that held a beautiful diamond in its center. Oh Kurama-kun, you shouldn't have, said Yugito as she held out her left hand to allow Naruto to slide the ring on. Matatabi then proceeded to kiss her husband before the two embarked closer to Ame. Well, I'm sure Sensei will get in however he does it. He definitely can't go through the gate since he never changes his appearance. Now it's up to us to get past the gate without being recognized, said Naruto as he held Yugito's hand. I'm sure we can manage that. Yugito looked at Naruto to see him with black hair, black square-rimmed glasses, black contact lenses to hide his blue eyes, and makeup on to disguise his whisker marks. Naruto looked like a totally different person. Though the same could be said about Yugito. Her hair was down and went all the way to her lower back. She was now a brown-haired woman with brown eyes and had freckles on her face. Mr. and Mrs. Kurama Kitsune, said Yugito before nodding to Naruto, and the two walked into the reign of Ame to embark on their mission. It was time to face Akatsuki and they wouldn't even know what hit them if it was up to the two Jinchuriki. Highest tower in Ame earlier, looking out over his village, was the leader of Akatsuki. His red hair was damp from standing out in the rain and his purple eyes were shining brightly in the dim light cast by the cloudy sky. Walking up behind the man in an Akatsuki cloak like his was a woman with blue hair. She had flawless skin, despite being in her 40s, which made her look no older than 20. Nagato, said the woman as the leader turned around at the mentioning of his name. How do you think things will fare with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? I heard his power has risen immensely. Even the Nibi could pose a problem. Nagato turned toward Konan and the gleam in his eyes was daunting. Do not worry, Konan. No matter how powerful the Kyuubi has gotten, said Nagato as the tiny pupil in his eyes widened slightly. He cannot contend with the power of a god. And you as my angel shall easily be able to handle the Nibi. It's only a matter of time that we capture the Hachibi and can finally go after him. Understood, said Konan before looking out the window. I wonder how Kisame, Itachi, Hidan, Kakazu, Deidara, and Tobi will fare against the Hachibi. He is a perfect Jinchuriki with years of experience with his Baijuo. Not to mention having to face all of Kumo if they don't make it quick. Nagato nodded his head before answering. That is true. But we only need one of them to survive to handle getting the Jinchuriki ready for the ceiling. And since our job is almost complete, even if we lose several members we will be fine. The only ones who can stop us are the Jinchuriki Hokages. And by the time they really realize how dangerous our plan is, it'll be too late. Doesn't it bother you that they haven't attempted to do something? Questioned Konan as Nagato shook his head. No. Not really. The world still believes Akatsuki started in Kirigakure and that Amigakure is still ruled by the tight-fisted Hanzo. We shall be fine here. It's one of the best covers in the world. Konan nodded her head before looking out over her village. Nagato did the same as the two just stared out at the steady downpour that covered it. You know, Nagato, maybe one day you could stop the rain, said Konan as Nagato shook his head. I can't do that. My chakra is in this rain. It is Amigakura's sensory defense and I need a constant downpour to find out if anyone has entered our village that could pose a problem. If so, I'll dispose of them. Konan was about to argue that no one has entered Ame in a while before Nagato jolted slightly. What's wrong? Questioned Konan as Nagato formed a small smile. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki is here, said Nagato picking up the powerful Jinchuriki the moment he stepped into the rain. And he brought the Nibi and Jiraiya-sensei. Seems like we'll be able to take our targets now and be rid of the only man who has come close to stopping us in the past. Be ready, Conan. This is the beginning of the end.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.